Today I'm wearing my Nike Air Trainer 1s and I'm going to a video game store in Waterbury, Connecticut. Game Exchange. Every single time I go to this particular game exchange, I feel like a minor celebrity, and it's because somebody recognizes me every single time I go here. The reason I keep returning to this location is because the prices are great and I always get things I'm looking for. I mean, look at these amiibo. They're all like 10 bucks. The Spirit Tracks is Japanese, but it's only $20. Waterbury, Connecticut is actually pretty far away from where I live in Connecticut, but I go here all the time mainly because there's like 4 stores in a very small area that I like going to for video games. This is a weird little Star Fox bundle, and it kind of makes me want to pick up a Wii next time I'm in Japan. Fun fact, True Crime Streets of LA is a great example of a game that's just so-so. I played all the way through because I was a kid and I had a lot of time when I played this. Time to see if it's a first run Zelda. It is in fact. You can tell because of all these extra controllers. Most of the controllers you can't oops, dropped it. I keep thinking about better ways to present cartridge-based handheld games. I don't really have time to do like a big DIY project, but look at this. This is a pretty elegant solution right here. I really enjoy collecting for the Switch, but I have a really hard time finding anything new or I need from a retro video game store. However, this alternate cover for Donkey Kong Country, amazing. I'm going for a complete N64 set, and I need this one, so I'm gonna pick it up. I've been looking for an OG 3DS for a while now, and this one is beautiful. I'm not gonna pick it up because the only reason I want it is to try out a Circle Pad Pro, but this is a decent price and a beautiful specimen. Game Exchange has a whole bunch of other stuff like games, toys, manga, monitors, and is a little bit like a pawn shop as well, but they've got tons and tons of DVDs if that's your thing. It's just not mine, so I'm leaving. Hey, what's up? Today we're in Waterbury, Connecticut, but we're not just going to video game stores. We went to a video game store, the one that's a part of the Let's Go to 100 video game stores. It wouldn't make a lot of sense if I drove like an hour just to go to like one store unless it was like the best store in the entire world. But, if I go somewhere and there's like 5 or 6 stores that I can hit within like a 20 to 30 minute period, then, I've kind of made the trip worth it. So anyways, these are the stores in Waterbury. Most of these are going to be thrift stores. And then there's like one extra game store, but we'll get into that later. And as you know, it's time to flip and dip. Basically in the same parking lot is this store right here, Red, White, and Blue Thrift Store. It is a thrift store. Maybe it's the holidays, maybe it's just supply and demand, but they've got far less games than they normally do here. That's okay, because, it's a thrift store and people come here for other reasons. Ooh, that's cool, map pack. I used to have this exact version of Risk. It is probably the worst version of Risk, even though, like, the gameplay might be better, and this is why. It lacks the little horsies, the little cannons, and the little foot soldiers. They replaced all of those with arrows, which is, awful. I've been on the hunt for a mini DV camera for a very long time. I do not believe this is what this is. I actually have no idea what media this would even take. But it's really weird looking, huh? This camera's pretty funky looking, but I bet this lens is actually worth more than the camera body. And after doing about 22 seconds of online research, this might work with Sony cameras, which is pretty nice. Here's a PS3. This is not one of the backwards compatible ones, I don't think, because it doesn't have the hood and it only has 2 USBs in the front, and I don't think I'd take a gamble on it. Here's another one of those cameras and another interesting piece of glass. This is one of those cameras that records directly to a mini DVD. I never had one, but I always wondered if they were any good. I never suggest getting a tripod from a thrift store, mainly because they're always missing this little piece that you use to connect to your camera. And, these things just like wear out pretty fast. They've got a GameCube way back here behind the counter. I never ask for prices unless I intend on getting something though. Overall, I usually have very little luck in a Goodwill, but I can't help it. I always want to go in a Goodwill. This is one of those rare Goodwills that actually has VHS tapes. I've been actually thinking about collecting as many copies of Jingle All the Way as I can. Unfortunately, they do not have any copies of Jingle All the Way, and I didn't realize until I was editing this right now that there was a copy of Titanic on VHS that I left behind. This is a terrible thing. Sometimes when you make a thrifting mistake, all you can do is just cut yourself some slack. On the other hand, I have found like 1,000,000 copies of White Christmas. Good movie, but not as funny as Jingle All the Way. I know this is for cassette tapes, but I should have bought this and put my Genesis carts in here. There are a ton of Christmas trash trucks here for some reason. Can you truly call it a Goodwill if there is not at least one Wii balance board there? I see so few video games in Goodwills that I'm actually pretty excited to see all these, sports games and Assassin's Creed titles. For some reason, there's about 1 billion Apple Watch bands, but they're all the same and they're all like the default band. Speaking of Apple Watches, I'm running a little short on time. The store is technically a video game store and I love to go to them, but I'm not gonna count this in my 100 video game stores. I think everybody would get pretty bored if I just made this all about me going to GameStops. However, this GameStop is different. It has these 2 giant statues that are from Bethesda games, obviously, a little Fallout 3 action, and a little Skyrim action over there. Other than that, we've got a pretty typical GameStop going through some normal sales. Sometimes when I'm in a GameStop, I kind of feel like I'm in a place that will not exist in 5 to 10 years. And it's a really bizarre feeling. Side note, these little Atari things are made by My Arcade. They sent me one a while ago. I know there's a lot of people that still love Pops, but do you think that Pops are on their way out? What are your thoughts? Video game kiosks are something that I've always wanted, but one day I will own one. Well, I hope you liked the episode. I recently got like 65,000 subscribers, which is pretty cool. Thanks for being along here for the ride. Not as many people watch these longer form videos, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep making them because, I just like making them. But if you're here on the shorts, if you're here watching these, I'm just glad that you're here, period. And like, subscribe, do all that nonsense. But also tell me what you want to see, and I'll make stuff about that. So have a wonderful day, and peace. Peace? That was awkward. Peace. Peace.